right, welcome back, everybody. Now it's time for our grassroots citizen panel. And joining me in studio, as she did earlier in the show, is Candace Chambers-Belida, author and radio talk show host. How you doing,
Great.
Candace? Candace, give a shout out to your book. What's it titled?
It's Dare to Stand, The Secret Codes of Conduct for Marriage, and Never Good Enough to Marry.
All right. Sounds like an exciting book. Also in studio, as she was previously, is Ritu Basu, analyst at the Ayn Rand Institute. Good to see you again, Ritu.
Good to be here.
And in studio is legal analyst, federal defense attorney Jan Rodas. Jan, how you doing?
Real fine. Good to see you.
You're making me laugh, Jan, with that look you're giving me there.
Well, you always put me over on the left side here.
I don't know why. Our viewers will find out.
All right.
All right. Listen, the Obamacare website, we know what a disaster it was and how much it ran over budget. Just to put in perspective, the cost of creating the Obamacare website, we're talking about a website here. This is 2014. You know, the liberals like to talk about how progressive they are. The Obamacare website costs more than LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter combined to create. But now we find there's even more waste. We've come to learn that there are a handful of failed Obamacare exchanges that have cost the taxpayers over $500 million, particularly Massachusetts, Oregon, Nevada, and Maryland, over $500 million. To me, this is just an example of what happens when government gets involved in any project. I want to go to Ritu from the Ayn Rand Institute. Your take.
Yeah, and I think there's something really interesting going on here. So you said it's $500 million for these failed exchanges, but more broadly for these exchanges, it's many billions of dollars being spent. And these are taxpayer dollars being essentially wasted because you're basically trying to create this huge facade, this facade of a marketplace. That's what these exchanges are supposed to be, right? Resemble some sort of market. That's not what's going on. This is basically subsidized healthcare paid for by the government, paid for by other taxpayers. If that's what they want to do, and I don't think they should just do it. The government should just be paying the care instead of spending all of this money trying to create this facade, and they can't even do it right.
And Jan, I know you're a supporter of the president's health care proposal, Obamacare. Is there a point? I mean, I know you can't be a fan of overspending and wasteful spending, even though you're on the left. Is there a point where you say, wait a minute, this is ridiculous? I mean, there's no reason why a website should cost this much. All right, we give them a pass because it was new, but now we see that you can't keep your doctor if you want to. You know, the president spent 3 years telling us. Now we see that over $500 million wastefully lost and spent by the government on for Obamacare. Is there a point where, as a supporter and a fan of Obamacare, you say enough is enough?
Well, quite frankly, Rick, we're beyond that point. I mean, look, the rollout to Obamacare was a disaster, was a failure. It's been fixed. Obama's apologized for it. We moved on. That doesn't undermine the integrity of the program. The program is a wonderful program. I've said before, it's enormously successful. It's going to be more successful probably than Medicare once fully implemented. But we're beyond the point of criticizing the rollout. That's been criticized, and now it's up and running, and it's very successful.
So we shouldn't criticize the fact that the government has 4 failed exchanges that cost $500 million.
Well, of course we should criticize that, and we should learn from it, just like so many times the government gets stung on some of these contracts.
At what point do we say, that's it, it's holding, the government can't keep getting a pass?
Well, we cannot eliminate the program or repeal the program because it had a failed rollout, and lawsuits will fly over this now. These were independent contractors. Obama designed or theorized Obamacare. He didn't implement these websites, and that's been a failure, but the lawsuits, I'm sure, will someday ultimately recover a lot of that money.
You know, I don't mean this personally towards Jan, Candace. When he said Obama created the theory but not the implementation, that sounds like liberalism to me, an idea without execution. I know you have a lot you want to get off your chest about Obamacare.
Well, I think originally that his idea of creating this medical entity that would be helpful to everyone, I mean, in reality, that was a good thing. But overall, it wasn't doable. And I think at this point, just as you said, with the amount of money that has already been spent, enough is enough. I mean, there are people that are homeless that are out on the street in Skid Row. I mean, look at being able to reform that. I mean, all of this money that you just basically are throwing in the trash, you know, you're wasting on this particular rollout. And I think enough is enough. I think that the economy is suffering. I think that the fact that what he had promised originally, and he might have meant it, but he was not able to deliver.
And Ritu, you have something you want to say?
Yes, yeah, I completely disagree with that. I don't think that the goal of this law was good. Everyone likes to say that. Well, what they're trying to achieve is good. And that's why I agree. We can't just be talking about implementation. We have to talk about the goal. And the left says the goal is great, so let's get over the fact that the rollout was rocky. But no, the whole idea behind this law was bad. I mean, what broke America's healthcare system? It's government regulation. It's one of the most tightly regulated industries in America before Obamacare. And Obamacare is the greatest growth of government in almost 50 years. What we need in this country is to deregulate, to move towards a free market.
Well, I do agree with you that it's bad, okay? It was, but what I'm saying is what Obama initiated in the beginning was of good heart or good content, you know.
I don't think
but
so.
I think the way that it was done and what it's going to look like, which is like socialism, which looks like the government,
you know, it is
your medical business, and I'm against that completely.
It isn't. It's so far from socialism. It's not
You're
government
right.
paying. It's not government paying the money. It's still private industry. There's still
It's
private insurance
fascism.
company. It's not fascism.
Do you know what fascism is? It's private ownership.
Of course I know what
and
fascism
the government controls.
Of course I know.
That's our healthcare
The government doesn't
system
control our healthcare system. The government is implementing a program
Are you serious?
so
Health
that
insurance
people
companies cannot do anything without government control. Hospitals, doctors.
No,
It's
listen, what
impossible.
brings up a good
Obamacare,
point.
no, what Obamacare, as Candace said, was an effort, and it's corrected that effort, to make sure, for example, that people cannot be precluded from getting insurance because of a pre-existing condition, that you can't take people off insurance policies because of pre-existing conditions, that if people lose their job, they can take their insurance with them. These were the goals of Obamacare.
Let me jump in here, Ritu. Let me jump in right. I need to take a quick break. I can see we're not going to settle that issue on this segment, but when we come back, the government now says they need to scour the internet for hate speech. It just sounds to me like big government getting bigger. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat, and it troubles me. We'll get the view of our panel on the other side of this break. You're watching The Rick Amato Show on One American News. We're back after this.